Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson football channel. I've got a bit of a hangover today. I kind of did it the wrong way round. Normally, it's the day after the game that you have a little bit of a hangover. Today, I'm waking up and it was a Friday night last night. There was a few parties going around. Very, very enjoyable stuff. But today is the FA Cup final. It's one of the most called upon days in the footballing calendar. Something that we look forward to. Families sit in front of their TVs watching the football together. It is the oldest competition in English football. It's the oldest competition in football. And today it is a London derby. Chelsea versus Arsenal. Super Frankie Lampard with an opportunity to win his first trophy as Chelsea manager. Now, if we take a look at Lampard's press conference, he was asked the question about whether or not the FA Cup is a stepping stone into giving Chelsea more chance of winning the major competitions next season, such as Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues, and even though, as he always does, Frank's answers are very diplomatic, he obviously knows the FA Cup is something Chelsea want to win. We're not getting carried away in this idea that today, if Chelsea win the FA Cup, next season, the Premier League is ours. And the reason why is because we already know that next season, the Premier League is ours, whether we win today or whether we do not. But before we get into anything else, I want to ask you to subscribe to the George Benson football channel. I make new videos pretty much every day, although I took yesterday off, as you can tell from my voice, because I was partying, and I think sometimes in life you need to do that a little bit. Subscribe, turn on bell notifications, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, links to that down below. But let's get into the meat and potatoes. Obviously the game is today, later on today, and in my match previews I always like to say why and how I think Chelsea are going to beat their opponents. So Arsenal, let's take a little look. They finished 8th in the Premier League this season, which isn't exactly what Arsenal would have liked. It's their worst Premier League finish. And Mikel Arteta has come in and he's steadied the ship. And what we can see is tactics that have been learned through his playing days under Pep Guardiola. Mikel Arteta is creating an identity for this Arsenal team, and the way that we saw them picking off Manchester City in the semi-final was, credit to the work that he's put into the club. Normally, when Arsenal are playing games against teams like City, who are constantly trying to dominate the ball, playing out from the back, Arsenal get stretched and they often get beat. But the way they played in that semi-final shows exactly what they're capable of. But at the same time, Chelsea, in their semi-final against Man United, we showed the steel, the grit, the passion, the quality that we needed in that game. And the good news is, Chelsea at Wembley, we're often pretty good. And obviously the redemption that we're looking for is to make up for losing that 2017 FA Cup final, which, by the way, this thumbnail is haunting me to this very day. I get people sending it to me all the time. Obviously, Chelsea were beaten by Arsenal, 2017 FA Cup final, and I knew the photographer at the front, and he turns around and it's just, it's an emotional day. It's a competition that you always want to win. For me, you can downplay it because it doesn't bring in as much money as winning the Premier League or finishing in the top 4. It doesn't really necessarily matter at this point. An FA Cup final is always a major competition that any club wants to win. And the way that Chelsea have actually got to the final this year has been very impressive indeed. We've managed to beat Leicester. We've already beaten Liverpool. We've beaten Manchester United. If you beat Arsenal, it just goes to show the quality within this Chelsea team to be able to beat the biggest clubs in the country. And then obviously moving forward with Timo Werner, Hakim Ziyech, hopefully Kai Havertz over the line as well, as amongst other players. Next season, we can use what is today as an FA Cup final to build into next season to go and challenge for the Premier League, to take it back to London where it belongs. London is blue, and hopefully the team that we're about to build is going to put blue ribbons on the FA Cup trophy. So obviously the first question that we need to ask is the goalkeeping situation. Willy Caballero, he's been the cup goalkeeper. He's also taken over the game against Wolves, kept a clean sheet so that Chelsea win to finish in the top 4. So for that reason, and the performance we saw from Kepa the last time he played against Liverpool, Willy Caballero is Chelsea's goalkeeper for this FA Cup final. I think that what we see from Willy is always confidence. He can pull out the big saves. Yes, sometimes with his feet, I don't necessarily think he's the best and his distribution could improve. But at this point in time, we're talking about Kepa Arrizabalaga, a man who's low on confidence. Can we rely on him in this FA Cup final? I think the answer to that question recently has been no. So for that reason, Willy Caballero starts in goal, and I've gone with a back three. We're obviously going to play with a 3-5-2 and a 3-4-3 in transitions, and the three centre-backs I've gone for, Azpilicueta, Kurt Zouma, and Rudiger. I think that the outlier in this one is probably Rudiger. You know, sometimes he is a little bit clumsy, he makes silly mistakes, but Azpilicueta, Chelsea's captain, he's been absolutely incredible this season, all in all, and I think Zouma is probably the centre-back that if Chelsea are looking to bring in a centre-back this summer, which I think we probably would be, maybe a Declan Rice, or Nathan Ake's now gone to Man City, so that one's out the window. Let's see what Chelsea do with that. I think Zouma's definitely the man to move forward with for next season. Obviously Tomori as well, but we've seen him play a lot less in the second half of the season. So Rudiger gets the nod for me with that little bit extra experience. And then we move into the wing-backs, and we've gone with Marcos Alonso, Mr. Wembley himself. 2 goals against Spurs. He runs down the wing for me, and he runs down the wing for you as well. Marcos Alonso, I always have a little feeling that Alonso is going to do something at Wembley. And again, I have a feeling that he might just do it today against Arsenal. We got Reece James on the right-hand side. We saw that he had that confidence early on in his Wembley game against Manchester United, where he goes forward and he takes that shot, rasping into the hands of David De Gea, who palms it away. Reece James going forward is going to be another massive outlet for Chelsea again today. As we build the team moving forward, we'll see how Reece James can impact on the right-hand side. Maybe if there's a winger who isn't necessarily in his best position on the right wing. That's a little hint as to who I've put on the right-hand side next to the striker and the left winger for this game today for Chelsea. So we've gone with those two, and then we move into the midfield. And I think this is where Chelsea will win the game. N'Golo Kante being fit and in the side, it's a cup final against Arsenal. We've seen him in cup finals against Arsenal, the impact that he can have, even if he's not fully fit. Again, I bring it back to what we said in the Europa League final against Arsenal, where Kante wasn't fully fit. He played the game, and it was kind of a catalyst for all of the injury problems he's had this season. He wasn't really ready, but at the same time, because the geezer's so bloody good, we know that even an 80% N'Golo Kante could be the difference between Chelsea winning a final and Chelsea not winning a final. So if he's in the squad, which Frank has confirmed that he is, which is why I do these videos on the day of the match, N'Golo Kante has to start for me, and the key player for Chelsea. And I think this is where we can win this game. Mateo Kovacic next to Kante, it gives him more of a license to roam. We know that Kovacic is incredibly mobile as a central midfielder. He can turn players. And I think that if we use Kovacic to almost target maybe a Granit Xhaka in the Arsenal midfield, it could be the key for Chelsea getting out of sticky situations defensively, in the transition moving forward. N'Golo Kante can give Kovacic that freedom to be able to dribble with the ball, to be able to take players on, drift into spaces, and then you've also got the movement and the quality and the versatility with that movement of both Christian Pulisic, Captain America, the man of the moment. He's had an incredible first season for Chelsea, and Mason Mount. Yet again, another man who just keeps getting better. You know, this season we've seen that he started very well. There was a little bit of a dry patch. People were asking questions like, is Mason Mount really that good? He scored the goal in that semi-final. He changed the whole game with that incredible moment of brilliance against Wolves, and he has to be in this team. Whether we're going with a back four, it doesn't matter. Mason Mount has to start this game for me. He's in brilliant form. His confidence will be super high after that game against Wolves, and I think that seeing Mason on the right-hand side, giving him that license to drift, giving him that license to roam, when Chelsea do progress with the ball, with the overlap of both Marcos Alonso and Reece James, we can see Mason Mount drift into central positions. We can hopefully see him having those shots from outside the area, creating opportunities, getting into the space behind the striker, who is Olivier Giroud, the man that we signed from Arsenal, who has just been incredible towards the end of this season. And, you know, Giroud's come out and said that he knows that Timo Werner's being brought in not to sit on the bench, and he knows that, you know, his game time might be a little bit more limited. But the one thing we know with Olivier Giroud, and like he said, he wants to give the manager a headache, keep scoring goals, keep offering what he offers to this Chelsea team. And we know that we've got Olivier Giroud again next season. He signed a new deal, and I'm very glad about it. You know, I think the way that he has developed in this second half of the season, you could argue that right now he's in the best form of his entire career. And even though we saw Tammy Abraham change the game with his winning goal against Arsenal earlier this season at the Emirates, Olivier Giroud's form means that we just can't not start him in this game. And I think that the way he does allow players such as Pulisic or a Willian, Hudson-Odoi, Mason Mount, who I've put into my lineup. He gives those guys the freedom to get closer to him, to draw Arsenal defenders away. There's often two defenders that are marking him so that Chelsea players can drift into space, be given opportunities. And I think that with Olivier Giroud, he might not necessarily always score, but recently he has been. But you know that his movement and the way that he structures himself in the game is always to the benefit of those around him. And I think today it could be massive for Chelsea. With Alonso getting forward, getting crosses in, Reece James, we know how good he is with the delivery. And I think that with Kieran Tierney, if Arsenal go with a back three, he could be their weak link. And with Chelsea having Mason Mount, Reece James, with that ability to get those balls into Giroud on this right-hand side, I think that could be Chelsea's best outlet going forward. So, that is my team. FA Cup final. It doesn't get any bigger, but it does. We've got Bayern Munich next week, but we shouldn't be thinking about that one whatsoever. This is a cup final. This is a chance for our best ever player, our new manager, Super Frank, to top off what has been an incredible season. It's been a poetic season, young players coming through. There is a love for this football club right now amongst everybody involved that just keeps on growing. And to see Chelsea win the cup today, we might not be having any trophy celebrations in the Royal Box, but those are the things that, we've had to come to understand with the new football that we've got since Corona. It doesn't matter. The trophy will be with Chelsea's name on it yet again. And bloody hell, I just hope we can do it. I'm nervous. And I think that this hangover today isn't helping my nerves, but it is what it is. Chelsea versus Arsenal. It's a cup final. We've got to respect our opponents. They were very good in the semi. And the fact they've got to a final means they deserve it. We can't take anything for granted. Yes, we haven't lost to them this season, but boy, this is going to be tough. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you agree with my starting 11? Do you think we're going to win the game? My score prediction is 2-1 Chelsea. I do think we're going to win it. I pray that we do. Let me know in the comments. I love you guys. Subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all after for 6 Things We Learned. Come on, you Blues.